While some studies have found that men are more likely to forgive than women, other studies have found the opposite to be true. The complex interplay of factors that affect forgiveness, such as gender, personality, and the particular circumstance, is probably at play. The following are some possible distinctions between men and women's forgiveness psychology. 1. Personality. There may be differences between men and women in certain personality traits related to forgiveness. Women, for instance, may be more inclined to feel empathy and compassion, two essential components of forgiveness. A combination of personality traits, cognitive functions, emotional control, and environmental factors affect how people approach forgiveness. Men who rate highly on the agreeableness scale, which includes traits like empathy, cooperation, and concern for social harmony, may be more likely to be forgiving. Women who score highly on agreeability may also be more forgiving because they are more likely to value collaboration and interpersonal relationships. According to some research, men may approach forgiving through problem-solving and action, using a perspective-taking strategy to comprehend the intentions and viewpoints of those who have wronged them. Women are capable of taking other people's perspectives as well, but they may do so verbally by explaining how they perceive things. Men who are highly empathic may be more forgiving because they can comprehend and relate to the emotions of others, which fosters compassion. Women frequently perform better on empathy tests, which can lead to a greater capacity for forgiving because they are more sensitive to the feelings of others. Men may be more inclined to extend forgiveness in circumstances where doing so helps preserve a valuable relationship, such as a close friendship or a partnership. Women may take into account how forgiveness affects relationships as well, but they may place more value on harmony and emotional closeness. The personality dynamics of forgiveness in both men and women are complex and influenced by a range of traits, cognitive functions, emotional control, and environmental variables. As societal norms regarding gender roles and emotional expression change, it's critical to acknowledge the diversity of people and the variation within genders. 2. Gender roles. Another factor that might affect forgiveness is traditional gender roles. Men might be more inclined to see forgiveness as a flaw than a strength, while women might do the opposite. In both men and women, gender roles have a big impact on how forgiving we are psychologically. Social expectations, cultural norms, and historical trends all have an impact on these roles. It's important to remember that while there may be general trends, there is significant individual variation, and these roles are continuously changing. Men are frequently expected to be stoic, strong, and less emotional than women, according to traditional gender roles. Men may therefore find it difficult to openly express their vulnerability or need for forgiveness. Instead, they might seek to resolve disputes without directly addressing emotions or demonstrate forgiveness through their actions. Women are typically encouraged to express their emotions more, so they might be more willing to talk about their feelings regarding forgiveness. Perhaps more often than not, verbal communication and emotional expression. Men may adopt coping mechanisms that involve problem-solving and action rather than talking about emotions as a result of societal expectations. This might affect how they view forgiveness, emphasizing practical fixes and resolution. Women may be more inclined to use coping mechanisms that emphasize talking about feelings, getting emotional support, and developing interpersonal understanding. This may have an impact on how they view forgiveness, emphasizing verbal and emotional expression. Men may approach forgiveness differently than women do because of cultural norms that link independence and resiliency to masculinity. It's possible that a fear of coming across as weak or vulnerable influences behaviors related to forgiveness. Women's societal expectations to be nurturing and relationally oriented may have an impact on their forgiveness behavior. Women may place a higher priority on upholding relationships and harmony, which may have an impact on how they view forgiveness. Gender roles have a significant impact on how both men and women perceive forgiveness and how they express their emotions and use coping mechanisms. As gender roles in society continue to change, people may increasingly express forgiveness in ways that go beyond conventional expectations. 3. Type of transgression. Differences in forgiveness between men and women may depend on the type of offense. For instance, men might be more likely to forgive financial betrayal while women might be more likely to forgive infidelity. The psychology of forgiveness can vary between men and women depending on the type of transgression or offense. Different offenses may elicit various emotional reactions, thought processes, and forgiveness techniques. Both men and women may find it difficult to forgive for personal offenses like betrayal, lies, or personal attacks. These offenses' emotional toll may result in hurt, rage, and betrayal emotions. Rebuilding trust and tending to emotional wounds may be part of the forgiveness process. Relationship transgressions, like infidelity or betrayal, frequently have severe emotional repercussions. Due to the way that relational offenses can erode the basis of trust in a relationship, both men and women may find it difficult to forgive. Personal boundary violations, such as invasions of privacy or disrespect, can have an effect on the forgiveness process. Men and women may need to communicate about the value of respecting personal space and set clear boundaries. Forgiveness is influenced by how intentionality is perceived. Men and women may approach the process of forgiveness differently depending on whether a wrongdoing was intentional or unintentional. The kind of offense has a significant impact on both men and women's forgiveness psychology. Because the nature and context of the transgression are so closely related to the emotional, cognitive, and relational aspects of forgiveness, different people will approach forgiveness in different ways depending on the particulars of the offense. 4. Context. The circumstances of the transgression may also have an impact on forgiveness. Men might be more apt to forgive in the context of a romantic relationship, whereas women might be more apt to forgive in the context of a close friendship. A significant factor affecting the psychology of forgiveness in both men and women is the context in which it takes place. The term context refers to a variety of elements, such as the nature of the relationship, cultural considerations, the immediate surroundings, and the particulars of the transgression. How forgiveness is approached can be greatly influenced by the dynamics of the relationships between the parties involved. The degree of intimacy, the length of the relationship, and the emotional connection all play important roles. Both the immediate and long-term contexts of a relationship can affect forgiveness. While some people might be able to forgive quickly, others might require some thought and reflection. The environment that forgiveness occurs in, both physically and emotionally, can have an effect on it. The degree to which people feel at ease partaking in the forgiveness process may depend on variables like privacy, safety, and the presence of outside stressors. Individuals' psychological well-being, including their mental health, can have an impact on how easily they forgive. Contextual factors that cause stress or emotional distress may have an impact on how one approaches forgiveness. Relationship power dynamics may have an impact on forgiveness. Whether or not individuals feel empowered or disempowered during the process of forgiving may depend on the context of power disparities. In addition to elements related to relationships, culture, environment, communication, and numerous other situational factors, the context in which forgiveness takes place is complex. Recognizing the complexity of forgiveness processes and how they play out for both men and women requires an understanding of the context. It's critical to remember that there is a lot of individual variation in forgiveness and that these are just generalizations. There are women who are not very forgiving, and there are men who are. The choice to forgive or not is ultimately a personal one. People differ greatly, and a person's personality, cultural background, experiences, and other characteristics also play significant roles in determining their forgiveness behaviors. In addition, changing societal expectations and norms are challenging long-held gender stereotypes.